Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. So here in July, we do have some little sunflower heads. So, just here, I've been on the server for a while, was here yesterday too, but doing mayoral duties. We've got some fields that needed to be plowed, but slurry's almost at 50,000, so I wanted to get everything done. But in the meantime, there we go. Sunflowers are coming up. Still another day till the pigs are due, so I'm going to attach that on there as well. But likely going to get about, 1,500, I'm thinking. Somewhere in that area. So there we go, 49,598. Very close to full. Get that delivered, show you how much I got, and that's all we'll have for today. But just wanted to share the sunflowers with you. See you in a bit. Here at PV, just about empty. 1,512. So price dropped a little bit from the last slurry tank, but seems to be about where we're hovering at. I'm expecting one of these days to get something 1,400, maybe even 1,300, but maybe 1,500 will be our bottom. It's always a good thing. So I'll jump in here again tomorrow when I am taking the pigs to market, and I'll see you then. Alright, so back here next day, and we've got some pigs to move, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go get my animal trailer, and we'll get those 36 pigs there. That will likely slow down the food consumption a bit and extend things. So I was gonna maybe do it later, but thought, well, let's just get it done so that we can get that benefit of the food consumption decreasing as soon as possible. So, was in here doing the time sync, so it is pretty accurate on the time. So, now we've got a lot more visible sunflower situation here. So before I had to zoom in quite a bit to see the little yellow heads, but they've gotten larger now. So, definitely doing a much better job of showing their colors. So we'll be getting close. Again, I think we're still probably 3 or 4 months away in reality by the time they really become ready to harvest. Alright, so we're going to take the German landrace, 24 of those, and we're going to take the 12 Berkshire, and then that means all we have left is German landrace. So I've been talking about it for a few different episodes when we've talked about the pigs, is I may end up this way, and it appears we have. So there's not really a sense fighting it, I think, unless I really ran things in kind of an awkward, out-of-sequence manner. I would not have been able to keep having different breeds present anyway. So, yeah, pretty nice. Pretty nice field of sunflowers here. We're able to see a little better than when we were going across, because again, one of the cool things in Farming Simulator is they do a great job of the heads following the sun, which is what they tend to do in real life, and just the way they were facing, we got a much better view of them at the angle I was going along the field there than I did the other way. So this is going to give us, whatever it is, the 42, 44, between 42, 44,000, because I think it's 14,400 per 12, so I think that gets us, that would be, what, 43,200, if I'm doing my quick math correctly. So for the first time selling the pigs, and we've just sold the slurry, obviously. You've seen that just before I popped in here, so basically just the short pig sale episode is what we've got. Selling pig byproducts and pigs themselves. But this is the first time we're going to be below 1.2 million, and that just has to do with buying some supplies. Because I think I did it off camera, but when I was coming back from the slurry, I took advantage of the fact that I was basically on the main road there and very close here to the FSN custom station that we just went by that also has the supply silos, so I went ahead and filled up on liquid fertilizer, which, as you know, is not inexpensive, and took that and put that in my supply silo on the farm. So we got a load of 50,000 liters filling the tanker. Was a little bit of a challenge to get it back, but did make it without too much of an event. I did kind of crash when I came off the bridge, which is pretty normal because I'm trying to go up the field and then turn and do it at speed, because otherwise it's too heavy to get going up the hill and then I'm stuck. But that kind of ends in disaster usually, and it did a little bit. I didn't like flip over or anything, but it wasn't pretty, is all I can say. So this field to the left is still one of the few that are left. As I was kind of thinking through things, I think I'm down to like a handful of fields, 5 or less, that now have not been prepped, because this one up here, field 4, does actually not need to be plowed. I've checked it a couple times. Every time I talk about it, even now, I'm like doubting myself. Do I really have that right? But yeah, this is, whereas I was just down doing 37 and 38, they came up and they're sold together. So they weren't 2 auctions, but it's one parcel that has both those fields on it. So I just did that. One of those was limed as well, but still needed to be plowed, where this one's limed but does not. Alright, so we're going to sell for 14.4, and then we're going to sell these, but we got to go all the way up to the 24. And obviously that's 28.8. And now we're at 1,172,637. So, made some progress back up, but just not at that level. So yeah, that's, one of the larger fields, field 4, right next to field 1. You can see way out on the horizon the black line. That's that giant field. So we still do have one incredibly large field, field 25, which is very oddly shaped. Probably when that one comes up, I'll certainly include a piece of it in whatever episode that coincides with. Again, that's probably going to take forever. This field here, field 3, pretty small, pretty thin. So when that one comes, I'll get that one done pretty quickly, probably in certainly less than an hour. But 37, 38, I think still took me a couple hours. This one over here, which I think is 35, also very oddly shaped, is also got to be done. But then beyond that, I think, there may be 1 or 2 others than that, but I think that's what I've got left. So we've got 3 for sure. But for the most part, I think everything else is done or owned, which means it was done at some point. So these, I believe, are rented Foots fields. Nick's been doing an excellent job of keeping his farm going, along with his own. Haven't seen or heard a lot from the other FMs, so I'm hoping everything's okay. I know, as we've talked about, You know, Swede's got some issues in real life that have kept him off for a bit, but he'll be then likely playing for quite many months because he'll be unable to work due to some injuries he sustained. And you know, obviously once he comes out of that, you know, things will shift a bit again on the FM front, but hoping to have Swede a little more active on the server. But you know, beyond that, it's been pretty quiet. So I've just been, obviously, as always, doing my thing, getting stuff back and forth. So yeah, this is what we've got for today. We're still just waiting for the sunflowers. There's not any work to be done on them. So yeah, we're good. So I'm going to leave you here. I'll see you when there's something to look at again. So back on here, I'm just going to include the highlights for today. So first off, the big highlight, look at that. Sunflowers at full bloom, all excited. You know, lots of weeds that we killed earlier in here that we can see down there on the ground, all the little gray things. So definitely the spraying is good. You know, but our yield bonus up there at, you know, 92%. But they're at 7 of 7, so I'm anticipating that tomorrow I'm going to be able to harvest. So based on that, I think I've got everything I can get from these with regards to potentially the bees. Today's the day the bees are going to go away. So I'm going to get all the honey loaded up, move to market. We'll see what that turns into, and then we'll sell the bees off, and we'll be done for today. And that will wrap up this conglomeration episode that took us over several months on the farm here. So I'll see you in a bit. So I've got a full trailer load here. As you can see, 8,000 liters that I am heading out with to the store. You can also see I've got a full pallet there. Not surprising, but you know, we've got 20 pallets. So you know, I think we did have several years of things. So important to understand that this is not unexpected. So I'm going to deliver this, and I'm going to, you know, start loading again. We may have another full trailer and then still have some left, but we'll see how things go. I'll see you in a bit. So I'm going to head off now and drop this off. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I didn't. I came up with a way I can grab 2 pallets at a time, basically just, you know, take the one off, you know, pick the one up, get off the square, let it spawn, pull right back in, lay it on top. So then I can load this, both layers, just, you know, kind of with one move into the location. So those last 3 sets, which, you know, the 6 pallets of honey there at the back is kind of where I started doing that. And as I thought about it, I'm like, well, I can now go put, you know, the individual ones on there again, but it's actually faster to just go deliver what I have, start with an empty one, and then load it 2, 2, and 2, and I think that will go a lot faster, because right now it's, you know, taking me half an hour. I've tipped the trailer at one point, going the other way, went too fast around the turn, had to get the telehandler from the shop, bring it over. I did find a very weird quirk, because the trailer was totally upside down at the time, so it wasn't on its side, it was upside down. As soon as the telehandler forks touched the trailer, the telehandler flipped over upside down. So just keep that in mind, you know. And then I had to get the telehandler right side up, but I found areas of the trailer I could touch. It just seemed like if I was, because I was trying to kind of get into the pallets and then lift them. And because the pallets were upside down, even though the trailer was upside down, it didn't do that. Maybe because you're not normally lifting a trailer, but pallets obviously I'm sure are situated to align with the forks appropriately and not upside down. So I'm sure then the game was like, well, the pallets are this way, so you need to be this way. But in any event, I'm going to deliver these, and I'm going to keep going. But right now we've got a full cart, which I think made us about 7,400. This will be a piece of that, because it's about, it was $9.33 a liter, or per 1,000 liters when I was selling it before. So anyway, I'll continue on. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so we've got another full cart. So as you can see, 74.78 for that. There's still more. I'm surprised. I thought for sure this was going to be it, because at this point, just to make sure we level set with everybody, it's 53 pallets, and typically I think the bees were generating a pallet per day is kind of the ballpark that it seemed to be working, because basically if I waited a year I could get 10, 12 pallets. But and I know it's been a long time since I've done anything with the bees, which is partially why I'm like, alright, let's just stop fooling ourselves that I'm paying attention to the bees, because I'm not. And on the one hand, while I've made a good amount of money. I mean, I've had 2 loads of 7,000 and 5,000, so taking off the fact that it's probably 1,000 or 2 more, we've got $19,000 from this, but it's also taken me like 3 hours of work. I rolled the trailer again. I just spent forever getting it upright. I wish I had the video going, because it was a little funny, and I was like, oh my god. So it happened on the hill here. As we go by, I'll probably still be explaining this, so you'll see the telehandler now sitting over there. So the dynamics of the hill came into play. So initially I tried to kind of push it down the hill. I couldn't get enough traction to roll, so fine, I'll be pushing uphill, so there's some resistance. I got it to work. When I finally flipped it over, and it involved pulling it over after I had gotten it basically on its side, I then went to the other side and used the telehandler to reach over and pull it toward the telehandler and flip it that way. So you can see the telehandler sitting over there, and then you can see the tracks, because the trailer then rolled into the river, rolled across the river, then kind of started to turn around, where I seriously thought it was going to flip again in the water, which would have just been ridiculously difficult, because things do stop running in the water. So if I had to get the telehandler in the river, it literally went to the opposite bank and then rolled back and then settled straight in the middle of the river, which is why the tracks kind of end there from the trailer, or from the tractor. And I was worried going in to get it that I stalled the tractor. It was just, but I couldn't have made it up, and I could never recreate it again. I mean, because basically it got upright, and then suddenly, slowly, it starts creeping down the hill, and then rolled, and wonderful physics engine, I guess, in that regard, that it went and did all that, but wow. But yeah, I've not been rolling things as far as video, because, as I said, we're now coming up, I think, on 3 hours that I've been working on this, and I don't know that it went, it had to just logically go faster than if I had stacked 20 pallets individually, but I still had to then move things. I had to move the back set around to make room for the last couple, but again, 53 pallets, which in theory is more than 4 years of bee production. You know, and now 54 with the one on the ground. I just don't know. So if I get another tracked trailer, I mean, we're talking 73. I mean, we're then 6 years of bee production or more. But I'll keep working at it, and we'll see where we're at. Alright, so I'm heading back. Thought I was recording and found out I wasn't, so just we'll catch you up. But basically, everything's done at this point. Just delivered the last load. We basically ended up with 82 and an 83rd pallet that had, I think, 293 liters on it that we just sold for $1,021. And bees in the cell pointer sold. We made about $6,600 from that, selling those back, but we are now beeless. So I no longer have to worry about that, which is nice. And the question then is, do I replace them with something, you know, now that I've gotten rid of that pallet point? I'm just kind of going to park this in the woods here because that's where it's been sitting, and there's not really a reason it shouldn't be sitting here anyway. But you know, so I'm keeping the forklift. I didn't sell that. You know, it could always be potentially useful for something, and especially if I obviously do something else with pallets, I'm gonna need to continue to have something to load pallets with. But you know, as you can see, the cell point is gone. Obviously the tree is not, and I'm trying to drive through it. But and the beehive is gone. It would be out there in the island. Hitting another tree, huh? I'm just doing really well today. I guess I should pay attention to where I'm driving instead of sightseeing on my field. But the sunflowers are so lovely, it's hard to ignore them. So, but yeah, we're all done, and I just don't know if, you know, maybe I want to dabble in some sheep and get the wool and so forth, or if I just want to leave well enough alone and just stick with the pigs, which is what I'm going to do, at least right now. So, that is it. I will see you next time.